Today, I'm going to do something that sounds impossible. Build my own personal search engine with just a single line of code. Now you're probably thinking, don't you need an entire team of engineers working on this for months? Well, guess what? You're wrong. I'm not going to spend months writing the code. In fact, I'm going to do it in just 5 minutes, and that too with a single line of code. Well, if you think that's impossible, then stick around till the end because I'm going to show you how you can do it too. But before that, let's try to understand why I'm doing this. Google is something that you and I have practically used our entire life. In fact, it's almost impossible to imagine a single day in our life without Google. If you want to search for something to buy, you use Google. If you want to know what the weather is going to be like, you use Google. If you want to find a new place to eat, then you use Google. So yeah, Google knows a lot about you, almost way too much. And that makes me not so happy. And Google आपकी data के साथ क्या करता है? Well, Google sells your data to advertisers. And it is not just Google. Literally every other search engine does exactly the same thing. So 2 हफ्ते पहले, I decided to take back what is rightfully mine. My privacy. Now, I spent day and night scanning the entire internet only to realize how difficult it is to actually be anonymous. You might be thinking of using a VPN, but guess what? It doesn't work. You might be thinking of using incognito mode, but guess what? It still doesn't keep you safe. Now you might be thinking of using DuckDuckGo, but what you should know is that DuckDuckGo has this weird partnership with Microsoft, so it is not as private as you might think. So what do you do now? Well, I have a solution for you. And you can get started with this with a single line of code. Don't believe me? Watch. Done. That's it. That's all you have to do. This tool is called CRXNG and it runs on almost any device that can run Docker, which is basically every device in the world. So it could be a PC, it could be your old laptop, or even a Raspberry Pi. Okay, so if Docker sounds scary, then don't worry. I will run you through a step-by-step tutorial on how you can create your own personal search engine. But before that, let us try to understand how CRXNG actually keeps you safe. And even before that, let us try to understand how Google actually tracks you. Whenever you browse Google or any other search engine, they install something called a cookie. And no, I'm not making this up. They actually call it a cookie. The cookie is like an identification number that Google or any other search engine uses to identify who you are. So let's say I search for formal shoes on Google, and after a while I search for formal shirts. Using that cookie, Google understands that I am the same person. Google then sells this data to advertisers who then show you ads for formal shoes and formal shirts. But along the way, Google can also use the same cookie to track your activity even when you're not on Google. So let's say you are on Steam or you are on Reddit. Google knows what you're doing. Google tracks your activity and builds more and more data on you. It then creates a profile on you, and that is what is sold to the advertisers. And that is exactly what CRXNG helps us hide. CRXNG is not a standalone search engine, but it acts as an intermediary between you and all other popular search engines, where it makes requests on your behalf. How CRXNG works is every time you make a search, it takes your request and forwards it to Google. It forwards it to Bing. It forwards your request to DuckDuckGo. You can also configure CRXNG to use more or less search engines. That is something you can do. And then it takes the responses from all of these search engines and then combines them together to give you a result. Now you may be thinking, how does CRXNG actually keeps you safe or prevents Google from tracking you? Well, it does it by artificially creating a new browser every single time you make a search. And by the way, the cookies I mentioned, CRXNG makes sure to delete all the cookies so that Google, Bing, or any other search engine have no idea who you are. Oh, and also, did you know that companies can actually pay Google to be the top results on your searches? And CRXNG get rid of all of those ads too. So you only get the genuine search results. Overall, this gives you complete anonymity online and keeps your searches, well, private. Okay, so now let's see how you can start using CRXNG on your own laptop. You can also use an old laptop that you have lying around. First, we need Docker on our system. Installing Docker is actually quite straightforward. You go to docker.com and the download link will be right there on the homepage. Simply select your platform and download the file. I'm doing this on Windows right now, but the process will be more or less the same on Mac and Linux as well. Once the setup file for Docker is downloaded, you can go ahead and double click the file to run it. This will start the installation process. If any prompt appears on the screen, you can go ahead and click yes to continue. Make sure all the defaults are checked and it's all clicking next on every screen from here. A little bit of waiting and 1 to 2 minutes later, you should see installation succeeded screen. Click close to close it. And with that, you have got Docker installed. Now let's go ahead and download CRXNG on our device. First, make sure you have Docker running. You will need that. And then click on the link to the GitHub repository provided in the description to arrive at this page. Next, you can click on code and copy this link and then open a folder in your file explorer. I've already created one, so I'm going to use this. Now we need the terminal open. So you can simply type CMD in the navigation bar if you're on Windows and something like this should pop up. Now here, type the following command, git clone and paste the link you have copied and then enter. This should create a folder like this on your device. By the way, if this command doesn't work, you might also need to install Git on your system. I will have the link in the description as well. We are almost there, but before we run our magic command, we need to make some changes in the settings. First, I will run cd and then the folder name to open the folder from our command line. And then we also do one more thing, is that we go over here and then in this CRXNG folder, you will find this settings.yml file. To open the file, you can open Notepad and then simply drag and drop this file over there. What you need to change here is this ultra secret key. I'm just going to change it to super secret key for now, but you make sure you have something long and secure and not like what I have over here. Once you're done with that, save this file and we can now exit out of this. And by the way, there are a ton of options we can change. For example, if you're hosting this on a server, you can also add your host name here as well as any of your emails. And CRXNG will take care of all the SSL encryptions for you. Pretty nice. Okay, we are done. We are almost there. So we just have to run one command. Ready? Watch. We type docker compose up -d. 3, 2, 1, go. Look at it go. So what it is doing over here is it is pulling all the images we need CRXNG to run. This might take more or less time depending on your internet speed. Also note that Docker will not pull the images every single time you run this command. It is only for the first time you run this command and then it does some kind of caching. It is taking a while, so with the power of video editing, we are done. And now we can access CRXNG on our own laptop. To access CRXNG, you can open up your browser and then go to localhost :8080. Press enter, and if everything worked fine, you should see something like this. This is your own personal search engine running on your own computer. Okay, let's quickly make a search and see how this goes. So I love myself some Momo, so I will look up for the best Momo brands in Pune and check this out. We have got all the results we need. Also notice that it also mentions the different browsers and search engines it has used to get these search results. And that is all the magic it is doing behind the scene to hide your identity online. It is exactly like any other traditional search engine. You can look for videos, news, images, and so on. You can also make some quality of life improvements to CRXNG by modifying the settings.yml file like we did before. Like for example, I can configure it to use get request so I can move back and forth through my searches, and also I can configure it to give me some search autocomplete from Google. Any changes you make, if you want to run again, you have to run the following command to build a new image. Take down the existing container and to start a new container from the image. Quite sleek. Notice how quickly that command ran. That is all the Docker caching magic right there. Okay, so now let's refresh the page and there you go. We have got autocomplete. And if I search for something here, let's say the best chocolates for birthdays maybe, then you can see the URL bar has this long string for the get request as well. The things you can do with CRXNG is endless. And if you want to read more on it, then you can go ahead and search for CRXNG settings.yml and you will find all the possible setting options right there. And lastly, if you want to take CRXNG down, you can run the command docker compose down and that will take it down. Just keep in mind to run it from the same folder. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to share with your friends and keep them safe online. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. I will see you in the next one.